This episode of the Very Serious Crafts podcast is brought to you by the fine folks supporting us on patreon.com. Visit patreon.com/seriouscrafts to subscribe, find out about our Patreon half-stitched episodes, and, just show us some love because we love you.
Hello, and welcome to Season 5, Episode 15 of the Very Serious Crafts podcast. I'm Mollie from Wild Olive.
And I'm Haley from Red Handled Scissors and the Bones and Bobbins podcast. Today we'll be talking about some really corny crafts.
Yes, I think we should expect some corny jokes as well, but the fact is, it's corn, and it's got the juice. So we got to talk about it. Honestly, I just couldn't resist corn.
I don't want you to resist. I never want you to resist.
This is a unique moment in history where people on the internet...
Of
corn history, where people on the internet have united to find joy in a small young man named Tariq. The cutest kid I think I've seen in a long time. Talking about how much he loves corn. And, I mean, why not us talk about corn and crafting with it in some way?
Why not? I think that is the best question you could possibly be asking right now.
Exactly. So here we are. We're going to talk about corn.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. But before we talk about corn too much, I'm actually going to give
Is there too much?
No, I don't think that there is. I
think there might not be a too much.
No, I don't think so. I think that,
okay.
But before we tickle your ears with it, ears, see,
Ew.
corn, they're listening to us in their ears right now.
I know.
Anyway, I'm actually going to give a shout out to our serious friends of the Very Serious Crafts podcast supporting us at patreon.com/seriouscrafts. We love you all. We are glad that you value our dad jokes and corny puns and all of that, and you're the best. So thank you to everyone there.
Yeah. You really are the best. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Corn crafts.
So
many corn crafts. So little time.
The thing that I found interesting when I approached this is I expected more types of corn crafts, to be honest. And when I that's going to sound, maybe that's weird, but I guess I thought that I would find a wider variety. When you look up corn crafts on the internet, a lot of it is things designed for children, more like art projects, sure. And, paper crafts and painting with dried ears of corn, and like a classic is using bubble wrap to do like paint prints so that it looks like the corn kernels.
Oh, that's fun.
Is really cute. There's lots of things like that, lots of preschool crafts and things like that.
Yep.
But they're rarely actually using corn to make things. Mm-hmm. It's only a little bit. But when you really are looking for making something out of corn, it comes down to that.
Which I am always ready
right?
to make things out of corn.
But yeah, corn husk is really the heart of crafts made out of corn. We're going to go strong corn husk here today.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you can get a dried corn craft.
Yes,
and
that is true.
There are some really beautiful heirloom varieties of corn in different colors. Mm-hmm. But I feel like when you're thinking about corn crafts, you're thinking about corn husks.
Yes. And from there, once you get into corn husk, making things out of corn husks, there are things that I was not expecting that you would make out of them. Dolls come to mind right away, but...
Oh, now see, those are the first thing that came to mind for me.
Oh, yes, that's what I mean. That was the first.
Oh, right.
But yes, I think of dolls immediately. That's like top of the list. And so then the other things were less expected.
Now I just want to eat corn.
I I happen to have 12 ears of corn sitting in my kitchen right now because I said it's on sale. We're buying a whole bunch of it. We're grilling it up, and then I'm going to use it for a bunch of things. So
I am so
ready.
Jealous.
Which also means I am going to have
Why
corn
am I not
husks.
doing that? Oh,
I don't know. You should.
I really should. I mean, I also have plenty of room for drying corn husks. Wow.
Yeah, no.
There we go. My voice, it's getting a little husky.
We really want it to
But
be
like
more
literally.
silky.
So terrible.
Having this fresh corn in the house right now, I am probably going to dry some of the husk, which, first of all, if you don't know, listeners, I have guinea pigs. I have 2 pet guinea pigs. Their names are Mabel and Sable. They are named after some sewing hedgehogs that are in the game Animal Crossing, because why not name your guinea pigs after something crafty related? Anyway, guinea pigs.
I need to tell you a thing.
Okay.
It's important.
Okay, I'm ready.
And I don't think I've told you this. There is a purveyor of hedgehogs in the area of Vermont that I live in that is called the Vermont Quillibuster.
Oh my gosh, that's the cutest.
Yes. Anyway, carry on.
I love it. I love it. So I have these guinea pigs, and guinea pigs are known to like eating corn, and especially corn husks and corn silk. Now, I have never gotten any of my guinea pigs to get really excited about it, but I continue to try. So I will be trying with these corn husks, but part of me thinks maybe I should hang on to some of them, dry them for doing some crafting.
I want you to.
Because
I really do.
Years ago, we always make a plan for this podcast for like what order we're going to talk about things, but I'm just going with whatever order we come across the topic in natural order here. But dolls,
I think that flew away a while ago.
Yeah, exactly. When it comes to corn husk dolls, I definitely remember one year on Thanksgiving, we were at my aunt's house, and my mom actually brought with all the supplies so that the kids could make corn husk dolls on Thanksgiving. And
that's fun.
For that, she bought the dried corn husks that are really designed for making tamales. And they're already pre-dried, they're clean, they're very easy to work with.
They're really beautiful.
Yeah. Nice big even pieces, which helps a lot.
Yep.
And you soak them and then you work with them, etc. But I was talking with her about it even, and we were saying like, okay, so what's the process if you're taking the corn husks from your corn? What do you need to do so that they're going to be ready for crafting with? And to dry them out yourself, it's actually recommended that you do it in the oven because it's going to dry them out faster. If you live anywhere where there's humidity, it will dry them out faster and not risk them getting moldy. Yeah.
No, that makes complete sense because that is a problem if you're looking at a lot of homemade corn husk dolls, and I weirdly know a lot about those because as we all know, if you've been listening for any amount of time, I'm a witch. I practice witchcraft, and a big part of like pagan harvest holidays have corn husk dolls. So the holiday lunesta, which is basically you bake a lot of bread for it. It's delicious.
That sounds like a very delicious
holiday.
delicious holiday.
But you also traditionally make poppets, which are just cute little dolls, and they, like, when you hear that, a lot of people are like, uh-oh, bad things, back up slowly. But in many, if not most traditions, it's a thing that is done in celebration of the harvest, and there's a tradition of kitchen witches. Probably if you grew up in the Midwest or sort of anywhere vaguely Germanic, kitchen witches are a really common thing, and they're often made out of corn husks, and they're a good luck charm.
You know, and this, here's the funny thing is, so, you know, even like yourself, I've grown up in a strong, like a Christian family, but Christian culture, and like this goes back generations, but it wasn't like kitchen witches were not a thing that was to be avoided. I know so many people that had kitchen witches, and it wasn't like they weren't using them in relation to a faith practice. It was just a thing to have, and they were around. I remember them regularly. Yeah,
they can be decorative. They're also just like any good luck charm, a good luck charm.
Yep.
They're also a way to like physically show thankfulness for the harvest, and because you're being thankful for the harvest and you can see this kitchen witch hanging out, then you remember to be thankful when the next season's harvest starts growing. And there are traditions that I kind of like that are where the dolls are sort of buried to help fertilize the next crop. So there are a lot of like really charming and very positive associations with corn husk dolls.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of those sort of folk practices have found their way into modern life broadly, and like they may have a basis in way back historical faith practices, but they don't go against any of the modern day things. They're just like, oh, I made this cute thing for you. Isn't it cool that we have this corn that we have harvested and that I made this pretty thing? Like,
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I love that.
And this is so we will fill the show notes with some fun corn related things today, obviously. And so Haley brings her corn husk doll link, and I bring my Martha Stewart one that are just how to make the cute little corn husk dolls. So it's all, I love it. It's good.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't, one of the things that I like most about like things that are meant to uplift and bring luck and like, ooh, there is a very loud motorcycle outside. Things that are meant to bring luck and uplift, like things that are meant to be given as gifts that are meant to make people smile.
Yeah.
Like that's a kind of magic that I can get behind. I mean, like my mom is a very, very active church member, and she would appreciate it in the same way that I would, because there's such warmth and absolutely no strings kind of attached to it. I like it a lot.
Yes, I like it very much. It's also like what I find very fascinating about really any kind of corn husk crafts is that there's anywhere that people have corn, you see it in cultural and historical things that people were making with it.
Yeah.
You know, so like,
and they're not wasting.
Right.
Like it's the next logical step that people do when they have this material that's available like en masse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's so, it's really interesting that human beings just kind of all do that.
Yeah, exactly. It's and I've encountered things that in even parts of the world that I wasn't expecting to find. Yeah. So but also I have in the realm of dolls, oh, it's gone away now. I've just encountered a super cute little, I think it's a mouse, but it's like a super chubby mouse. And of course it's got like a skirt and an apron and a hat. And yeah, what can't you make out of corn?
I mean, now I want to make fat, happy crows.
That would be adorable.
I have crows.
Like that.
I have them in my backyard.
Oh boy.
And I didn't know that they had noticed me because, one of my life goals is to be friends with crows.
And that's like the opposite of my life goal, which is to have birds in general stay away from me. But okay, go ahead.
And I understand that you are not interested in birds. Don't worry, no birds come close to anyone in this story.
Okay.
But I didn't think they had noticed me. But my mom has been outside by my pool all week, and they yell at her every time she comes out there because she's not you.
Wow.
And so I have like a crow alarm system.
That's handy. That's very handy.
It is very handy. Except for my mom yells right back at them.
That seems like your mom. I like it.
And I'm like, Mom. She's like, they're scaring the songbirds away.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want songbirds, Mother. I want crows.
Like, did you not see the house that I chose to live in? Crows, please.
I have a literal crow welcome mat.
There you go. And now the crows have seen it, and they know that they're welcome.
Apparently. It was very funny.
Well, since we're talking about mats, which we kind of were very briefly there.
Yes, I do believe that no, it is not corn, but it is jute.
Okay, well,
but, yeah,
you can make rugs and mats out of corn husk, obviously, and I suppose you could make it out of just dried corn if you wanted. Maybe add some texture in there. Be like, like the pebble mats or floors. You can make it out of corn.
I think you'd have to lacquer that.
You'd have to lacquer it a lot.
If you were gonna, like, I'm just thinking like bath mat.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
that's
you would
just asking for some sort of
no, that's a problem. But
mushrooms
or
something.
Yeah. With the corn husk, you can braid it in the same way that not the same way, but generally the same way as you would braid like wheat. And as a part of a Swedish family, braided wheat and like those kinds of like ornaments and things out of that, I'm very familiar with that. Had never seen it done with corn. And so, you're working with strips of the dried corn husk, and you work them in and braid them in, and then you can take those braids and sew them together to make as something as small as a coaster, something as large as a rug.
Oh yeah, I've seen that a lot.
Yeah. I've just never thought of it as corn.
Surrounded by cornfields. Like,
there you go.
My grandma's farm was cornfields. And I think that is fairly common in like local craft-related fairs.
It absolutely makes sense. I've even seen using that same braiding technique to make like a hat, basically like a straw hat, like a beautiful piece. Never thought of that corn husks would be usable for that. But then, like I was saying, different cultures and stuff, I found a tutorial for making... It might
be easier to work with than straw.
It might be. I mean...
And more fibrous,
it's gonna
right?
Yeah, because it's got the long grain to it, and it is a little bit softer. I'm not sure to what level it needs to be dried out. I have not dug into that. I
imagine not fully.
Exactly. I'm thinking...
But then I imagine it would need to go in my father-in-law has a greenhouse that he uses to age violins because he's a violin maker.
Okay.
You do.
Yeah.
And there are always violins hanging in various areas of his house, in like different microclimates.
Yeah.
And I could absolutely see aging a hat in sort of it's a non-humid greenhouse. Like
Right.
It's got a lot of succulents in it and stuff.
That's cool. Now you know how you can make this happen. But
it's true, and there are just so many farms where I live.
See, we've found like a whole new thing for you to spend your time on.
I live in a bucolic nightmare.
Oh.
Says the girl who's lived in Brooklyn for 20 years. And cannot find decent Thai food.
Okay. Speaking of like places that you live, and I don't know, and corn, I don't know why I didn't even think about this until
please.
this moment. And then we're going to go back to Nepal in a moment.
Nepal?
We're going to Nepal in a moment. But
okay.
I've lived in Illinois my entire life. And this was the year that I learned about corn sweats. Are you familiar with corn sweats? You grew up around corn. You should be familiar with them, so that makes sense. I'd never heard of them until this year. Obviously,
you're going to have to explain this.
I've experienced the effects of corn sweats, but I'd never known that that's what was happening. So basically, when in the summertime, when corn is growing, the growing corn increases the humidity to like by thousands of gallons in an acre.
Yes.
Therefore making the region more humid.
Uh-huh.
And I just had never had, because I don't live in a cornfield, like I live in a suburb of Chicago. So there is corn not far from here, but never like I'm not like living.
But you're not like in straight up rural.
Right. I'm not
you're solidly suburban.
Solidly suburban. I could get, there's corn grown around here in pockets.
Yep.
I don't now I've had cousins that lived literally in the middle of cornfields, and that was their summer job was doing that.
Oh,
and
detasseling corn.
Exactly. That was their thing. They absolutely hated it. But it was good money. So
you could get jobs doing that younger than the minimum age limit in Michigan. I think, at least when I was a kid,
that was definitely
special dispensation.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Sort of like how you can get your driver's license when you're like 12 if you live on a farm.
Yeah, you got to drive the tractor around. It's the thing.
But I'm fairly certain that 11 or 12, maybe 12 was the age that you had to be to corn to tassel.
If your family owns the farm, you're probably doing it way younger than that even. But
well, yes, but hiring
I know,
en
exactly.
masse from the middle school.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, so I learned of the corn sweat effect this year, and I was like, all right then. That's pretty fascinating. And if you would like to learn more about corn sweats, just Google it and you'll be amazed.
It's really cool, and also kind of makes me wonder how they don't mildew more.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've definitely had...
I know what the answer is, but just by way of how plants work, but
yeah. It's fascinating. Anyway, there we go.
So
okay, so now let's go to Nepal.
Okay,
because
get out of the Midwest, backing up slowly out of the Midwest. Gotta back up slowly because there are cows.
There are cows, and
cows keep wandering off where I live right now, and our local Facebook group is like, hey, is this your cow? See, also, someone's duck wandered off, and someone else
Nice.
found said duck and was like, hey, this duck has had enough of an adventure and is having a meal in my front lawn. Why don't you come get your duck?
Wow. Well, I definitely thought of you this week when I saw a video of two goats that basically attacked a police car. Attacked is, I'm using that loosely. One goat
That happens sometimes.
was inside, had made its way in, and the officer
I
could
know
not,
that video.
yeah, could not get it out. And the other one was just hanging out on top, just walking on the roof of the squad car.
That's why you don't leave your windows down and your doors open.
Well, I thought, why did you open the door and let the goat in? But, they were cute. Okay, Nepal. We're going back to Nepal.
Yeah, sorry.
We're going to get there.
We are. We're there right now.
Yeah, we're there.
It's really warm.
I found this video of how they make Nepali mats out of corn husk.
That's cool.
And unlike the mats and rugs that I've seen from other regions and cultures, the Nepali corn husk mats are woven. So it starts with like a frame or spokes, and then it's woven onto there. Again, when you look at it, if you know it's corn husk, you go, oh, of course that I see it. But I don't think that your mind would instantly go to that's what that's made out of. It has like a very
but I'm watching it happen right now.
Twisted,
and it's cool.
woven thing that. Yeah, absolutely. It's just beautiful. And they're essentially basic weaving techniques. It's just that you have to have
and the no knot start, so neat.
We will have the link to this in the show notes. There's once you get to one video or tutorial on any of these things, you obviously find more, and there's a lot of them showing different.
Yeah, I could make this now.
Different methods for making mats and baskets, and there's a variety of, whether it's the braiding or the weaving or different methods for creating these pieces, and I'm smitten, actually.
Yeah.
Because they create something beautiful and useful.
They do, and I think one of the things that I like most, because it always feels like magic to me.
Yeah.
When, short pieces of things are seamlessly joined together in a way that is completely sturdy and stable, but there are no knots.
Yeah.
And I realize that might sound kind of unimpressive to people who are maybe not used to having to deal with weaving in ends and things, and how difficult it truly is to anchor an end, even if you've woven it in well, and make it tight and uniform and fit with, and I'm thinking about knitting specifically, but just watching the, I guess, for lack of a better word, joins.
Right.
That don't require any outside material. I think it feels like magic to me and makes me smile every time, even when it's the most simple thing.
Yeah. Well, that was how I felt when we were looking at how linen is made.
Yeah.
Taking the flax plant, which has shorter fiber length, and then the way that it joins together, like with wool hangs onto itself. You see it just in playing with a few small pieces of wool. Yeah, opens up and you instantly get it. Linen, less so. There's more work that goes into making it work so that you can make threads and then fabrics, etc. But
and it used to be much longer fibers, and we've talked about this before when I first started making lace, but
you can still grow the version of flax that will, you can get it's almost like an heirloom plant at that point.
Yep. And some of it simply doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
The versions with the longest, thinnest fibers have died out
Yeah.
because it was simply too expensive to produce and they weren't cultivated anymore. But man.
Corn husk is there's a very limited length to what you're gonna have to work with here. So it's really cool.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I have watched that entire video in the background while we have been chatting, and now I want to do it because every time we see something new, you want to do the thing.
This is the way.
Yeah. So, can I tell you about something I learned?
Yes.
Today?
Yes, please.
And a future project that I will probably take on. So, when I was thinking about Cornhusk crafts when you suggested it, I've been thinking the last few days about specifically broom corn. And so I was wondering, I wasn't actually sure what broom corn was, and I wasn't sure if maybe it was corn husk processed in a certain way.
Right.
Because, I mean, you see decorative brooms made with corn husk. But I don't know. I wasn't sure if you took an X-Acto knife to it or. I mean, I kind of assume not because I've actually watched master broom makers make brooms.
Sure. And corn husk, even in its driest state, is fairly soft, comparatively
soft,
anyway.
And it might make a very nice broom for certain things.
True.
I bet my cat would like to be broomed with a corn husk broom.
Yes.
Anyway, swept. Wow. Broomed.
I like broomed. Yep. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
But see, if you think about it, it's like grooming, but with a broom. So it's brooming.
Oh, I like it. So
it works.
There we go.
Yep.
So I went down a very quick rabbit hole into broom making because broom corn, which is not corn, and is a plant, however, that looks a lot like corn. Like, I get why they call it broom corn because the leaves are similar. It's got tassels. It's a grain.
Yeah.
So, but it looks like more like corn than like wheat.
Right.
So it's just it's a grain that then you dry out by hanging, like the normal way that you process that. But now I need to grow broom corn.
And why wouldn't you?
Like, I have wanted. No, this is. Well, I guess it won't surprise anyone. I have wanted to be or to learn from a master broom maker because making brooms, it's sort of not dissimilar to bookbinding. Like the
I would not have thought of that, but that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I just thought of that at that exact moment. I don't think I've ever thought that before.
Yeah.
But there we are. But I own 3 brooms made by master broom makers. And they are the most beautiful, functional, hardworking things. Like, I will probably not need to replace them unless I actually wear down the broom corn. And so now I'm really excited about it. And even though it isn't technically corn or corn husk, it looks like it. And now I want to make brooms, please.
I think that's a fantastic idea. And brooms that are stitched together. I think we're so used to like synthetic brooms, if that's the correct terminology, or at least with synthetic bristles.
I don't actually have any idea. Yeah. What those bristles. I mean, I know that some of them are plastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the ones that aren't plastic, that are just perfect.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either.
But I mean, just thinking about the ones that are held together with stitches of some kind, I hadn't considered this. I hadn't actually stopped to think about them being held together with stitches, to be honest. I've noticed that, but never taken it beyond, oh yeah,
Well, you can
just
make
seeing
some,
it constructed,
you can make some very, very beautiful stitch patterns and like layers of stitch patterns, and you can change the shape of a broom
Sure.
based on what it's going to be used for
Yeah.
with different kinds of stitches. It's really neat.
Smocking also comes to mind.
Yeah,
Similar kinds of the idea
I
of
think it's probably similar stitches.
yeah, of how those stitches go back and forth and weave and all of that. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I don't know how much broom corn I have to grow to make a broom. It may prove to be a questionable specific task, but I also live right by some mildly haunted trails that with abandoned Victorian buildings in them, like, 'cause, like you do.
Yeah.
That are in fact old state hospital buildings because it's fun. But there are lots of naturally down, pretty straight pieces of wood, so I could collect handles.
You could. That would be very cool. Oh boy.
Oh no.
This has been a really dangerous episode, and
and
we should
I'm not even talking about what I'm supposed to be talking about.
No, we shouldn't go on too much longer, but other things that I found that were fun is processes for dyeing your corn husk. And
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really in the same way that you soak dried corn husk for making it into things, you soak it in a dye bath, and you can you can use RIT dye for it. I
was going to say, can I use an Easter egg dye kit?
Yeah, you probably could. I've not specifically looked to see what kinds of like natural dyeing you would do with it, which I would think would be a really good connection with making something out of corn husk, just because,
I wonder
why
how
not
absorbent
do that? But I don't know.
Once it's dry. Like, I wonder.
Which is why you might see, like, when you see older, like antique handcrafted corn husk things, if they're really subtle colors, it might be because they were naturally dyed.
Which makes complete sense.
Yeah. But, like, there's several tutorials. I mean, Martha Stewart has one. I've got a link from Midwest Living. And then some places when you see, like, a tutorial.
Midwest Living.
I know. Well, it's perfect for corn. But there's...
Fact.
Yeah. A lot of tutorials that are showing you things made out of dyed corn husk, like flowers are a big one. And there's so many different kinds of flowers you can make out of corn husks, which just astounds me. But a lot of those tutorials will include instructions for dyeing the corn husk as well.
I've just realized that I need to make a corn husk crow wreath for my door.
That would be really cool.
I need to write it down.
Yes, write it down. I've seen corn husk pumpkins where they were either making...
That makes sense.
Yeah, they either were covering an actual pumpkin, or some that it became hollow. It was just the corn husks as the outside shape, which that has to be super delicate. Even if it's, multiple layers, I would think that you'd want to be super careful with that.
I would think so.
But there's the flowers that you can make out of them. Some of them are just, fun, bright and colorful. Some, they keep them all natural, but they are sculpted and they look amazing.
Ooh, you could make a really nice sun hat with a really nice flower on it.
You could go
with
like
a
full...
contrasted dye band.
Yep.
I'm not allowed.
I don't think... Well, I've made my own sun hat, but I don't think I will probably make one out of... I don't know. Part of me wants to try.
I've considered paper. The only nice hat I've ever purchased was in Hawaii, because I'm bougie like that, but also because the only available
Yeah.
hat
Yeah.
place, I was on Waikiki Beach, and the only available hat place was like, let us take all your money. But
Sounds right.
I got a hat that fit for the first time ever,
Nice.
but it's paper.
Interesting. Is it like twisted and then like woven or
It's like
crocheted or braided?
and,
Okay.
sewn.
All right.
And I would have thought it was straw or something
Yeah.
like that. And I mean, I've had it for, I think we went for my best friend's 30th birthday because a friend of ours was a physicist there.
Okay.
And she just turned 40.
Yeah.
So it is.
Yeah. Well,
and
paper can be
it's-
very sturdy. So,
Oh, it's so sturdy, and it's been rained on. It's been in the ocean. Like,
yeah.
it has definitely blown off my head into places. It climbed a volcano.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah, and it's on my hat rack, and it still looks like I could wear it to church.
Yeah. Well,
It's
I think
impressive.
that's like even when you look at some older, very old corn husk things, obviously they've been preserved, but I wouldn't expect them to hold up as well as they do.
No, for a biodegradable material,
Yes.
like, well done.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you know that a lot of these, like, no one was shellacking them or spraying
No.
things on them. A lot of them were just what they were.
But I mean, to break down, generally speaking, you have to have bacteria. So
Yeah.
if you weren't like burying it,
Exactly. Yeah.
then that's really fascinating. I don't necessarily think about durable goods in that way,
Right.
but then here I am, like, I have multiple cane chairs
Yes.
in
Yeah.
this house that are definitely almost as old as my house.
Which
So,
that would be a great topic to talk about, caning at some point, because
oh yeah,
not?
there are 1 million chairs in need of repair available to anyone who wants to try their hand at caning.
my aunt actually took a caning class and does know how to do it. And in fact, I think
Apparently people here do too.
That makes
because that
sense.
is literally something that is put in like the local Buy Nothing group.
there you go. Okay.
Whatever. Anyway, entirely different topic. I
Yeah.
think we should maybe bring it in.
That's right.
Ooh, I just punched my microphone. I guess we really need to bring it in.
We do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shucks, it's been a good episode.
Oh, wow. You were waiting for that.
I was waiting. It was right there. It was right there.
Trying to think of a good way to bring a kernel of truth sort of
I
joke
think-
in. And
I think you've done it. You've done it. It's
all right.
all good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not as good at off-the-cuff dad jokes as you are.
I literally have years of practice because we had a friend that would do like pun offs with us, and so
Yeah.
yeah.
I can do folksy sayings because my dad is a master of folksy sayings.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, that works too.
Yeah.
Always fun.
When he retired, there was a golf outing and each hole had a, quote, Jimism on it.
I love it. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah. So, anyway, I think that I should just thank you all for listening
Yes.
to the Very Serious Crafts podcast and stop my rambling. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Serious Crafts and on Facebook at Very Serious Crafts. You can also find show notes and all things Very Serious Crafts at, shockingly, veryseriouscrafts.com.
Was that corn shockingly?
Wow. Wow.
We promise, if you follow us on all these places, we won't think you're stalking us. It's Okay, continue. I'll stop.
I feel like I'm just wandering through a maze of jokes and just...
Yeah.
Wow, actually, that's funny. I meant corn maze, but not
But
like
also
maze.
maze.
Maze?
Yeah.
But
I love a good double pun.
double joke. Okay, anyway. And finally, if you're a fan of the Very Serious Crafts podcast, please leave us a 5-star review.
For the jokes
on
alone.
whichever platform you use to listen to podcasts. And you know what? That review can definitely be just an excuse to make really bad puns.
Yes.
We don't care if it's like we will get the joke and the algorithm will get the love.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because that's how this works.
It's true. So please help more people who love crafting find us.
Yes.
Won't you?
Crafting and corny jokes is why we're here. So it's all good. Yeah. That's it. We're done.
Okay.
All right. I wish I had another one to just end this episode with, but we're just...
Listen, that horse has left the barn.
Yes, exactly. Good. Done. Bye.